Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. What about you?
I'm good, thank you.
So I wanted actually to ask you something about, like, what do you think about it? I'm agnostic, by the way, but a Christian once told me that we atheists, when we don't believe in the revelation of God, our whole perspective of the world is that we don't know anything, and because we say that we don't know anything, that's a contradiction.
Yeah, that's them just making a bunch of claims that they can't prove. When they say we can't know anything, that's prove it. You know.
All right, so it isn't like a big point in atheism or just non-believers that we don't know anything. Did they just make that up or something?
I think what they're trying to say is that without their God, you can't know anything. But number one, they don't even know if their God is real. They can't prove it. And if there is a God that grounds truth, how do they know that it's their God? And for them to claim that people who don't believe in God can't ground anything or ground truth, that's also just a claim that they can't prove.
By the way, that Christian that told me that
What's up, Days?
Was Wi-Fi Gospel. You debated him once.
Yeah. Thank you for the crown. Appreciate it.
How did that debate go?
Wi-Fi Gospel, I think he's a presuppositionalist. So like, he says like, he posted a video. I seen it on YouTube. It was like, the Christian God is true if knowledge is true. Knowledge is true, so therefore Christianity is true. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
that was basically what his argument was in that video.
Yeah, and he also said that the only free religions that can be true are Judaism. I don't know if I pronounced it yet right. Islam and Christianity. And he said, if Islam is true, then Christianity is true, and if Christianity is true, Islam is not true, or something. And
I don't know. I'm not really sure. Demi, thank you, Demi. I've been meaning to get back to you, Demi. I did see your message. I replied to you on because you messaged my Skits&bits 2, my backup account. I replied to you on there. I don't know if you've seen it, but yes, I do need to get with you sometime on my next days off.
One last question before, have you ever tried or looked into Buddhism?
No.
Ever thought about it or something in the future?
No, not really.
Okay. Yeah, that was about it. Thanks for letting me come up.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. All right, guys, everyone spam those likes right now. Spam the likes. Click the follow button, guys. Share the live. Demi, thank you so much for the roses. Thomas Jeffers, I see you. I'll get to you in a second here, Thomas. Let me speak with Demi here for a second.
On today's episodes of Christians Gone Wild.
What's up? What's up, Demi?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I did reply back.
Yeah, so I guess I did. Did you reply
Sorry, I got
back
a phone call. Can you hear me?
Yeah, did you reply back to All Shall Perish or Demi?
I think it was just Demi.
Okay.
But you were asking what days I'm off so we can co-host. I'm off. I think it's the 23rd through the 26th, or no, 23rd through the 25th. Any one of those days, I think we can do a co-host.
That works. I've got a new agency and everything set up for this account now. All of my other accounts have been permanently banned.
Oh, that sucks, man.
Yeah, but it's all good. I've got a great new agent, and we've got.
Did you try reaching out and getting him unbanned? Because this account here has been permanently banned twice.
How do you do that?
I just emailed him and told him that y'all are being stupid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I have to do that. And I got my within 10 hours my account came back, and then the very next night permanently banned again, permanently deleted. And I emailed him, and then within the next 12 some hours it came back on. So I'm not sure how. I guess from what I've read, I was incredibly lucky to get my account back, because after they permanently delete your account, I think that's pretty much it.
That is wild behavior.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can email them, try emailing them, tell them that you want your account back. Maybe they'll let you have it back.
I'll give it a shot. But in the meantime, I figured what I could do is if you want to either do one of two things, we could either collaborate the same background for the co-host live, or we can do primary topic of discussion and then come up with some type of a background that would be conducive for the both of us.
Yeah, I'm down for whatever, man. I'm down for whatever kind of discussion you want to have, or what kind of a theme or topic. I'm down for it. Thank you, Big Jesus. Thank you so much, Big Jesus.
So 23rd through the 25th, you said?
I think so. It's either one of those. It's like 23rd through the 25th, or maybe it's the 24th through the 26th. After this live is over, I'll double check and I'll get back. I'll message you.
Copy.
So.
Well, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. I'm stoked. It's going to be a damn good time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think we'll have a lot of fun. Thank you for inviting me to do it with you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I look forward to it, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, see you later. Guys, go follow Demi. Follow Demi, guys. Okay, let's get to Thomas Jeffers here. What's going on, everybody? How are y'all doing in the comments? I see you guys. Hope y'all are doing good. Thank you for the gifts, everybody. I really appreciate y'all. Hello, Thomas.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, I've been watching your lives and your videos. I'm actually a pretty big fan. I like what you do.
Thanks, man.
I had so I was seeing one of your videos Friday morning, and it was the one where you're talking about I think it was Luke 24 or something like it. You know, the verse where he tells his disciples that I think in your video you put that he had to hate
children.
Yeah, I was reading.
I think it's Luke 24:26, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah, I got different versions of the Bible, and I was reading in the New King James, and it says "cannot," because I was talking to somebody about that, and
it's Luke 14:26. I'm sorry, Luke 14:26. Thanks for all the shares, Goof. Thank you for the shares, Goof.
So what did you get out of that verse again?
Jesus basically says, if in order to be worthy of being my disciple, you must hate your parents, hate your partner, hate your children, and yes, even hate your own life in order to be worthy of following me.
Yeah. See, that's what I thought it said too, but mine says cannot. So it says cannot hate. So I don't know if maybe it's just a different version.
Can you read it to me? What does it say?
Yeah, give me just a second. I'll grab it.
Because you might be reading it wrong, because almost every translation says you must hate all those things. Not that it's not Jesus saying if you hate your kids or if you hate your parents, you can't follow me. It's actually the opposite.
Right. I got them here.
What translation is it? Or what version? What version?
The first one I'm going to do is the New King James.
Okay.
Which, well, I guess you probably know most Christians are like it has to be the King James, but
yeah, they're pretty they do like that one.
Yeah. Let's see here. And I am an atheist, by the way. I did try to give Christianity another shot, and I think once you try to go back in it, once your eyes are open, it's really, really hard. But
so Luke 14:26 in the New King James Version, it says, Luke 14:26. If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple.
Yeah, you are right. That is what it says in mine. That's what it was. In my King James Version, it says, hate not. That's what it says on the...
In the actual KJV?
Yeah, let me... I'll pull that one up just to double check. Because, see, I was trying to... I got someone I like to point out stuff like this, too, and he's always defending it, and he was like, oh, you're reading it wrong, so...
Well, let's see what the KJV says.
Okay, that's what I'm going to now.
if any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Hate not means don't not hate them, right? If anyone comes to me and hate not his father, which means if you don't hate your father.
Right. Yeah, see, he was trying to tell me that it means no, it just means do not hate. But, and like I say, I wasn't really paying that much attention to my New King James Version. And, I read the entire book of Luke. That's the only actual full gospel that I read, and I don't know how I didn't catch it. But
yeah,
I know
pretty positive every single version will say that it's Jesus saying you must hate these people.
Yeah, and then I know some people will be like, well, what he's trying to say is you got to put, and there's actually a lot of Christians that do it now. It's like, I'm sure you've seen like the diagrams of the drawing of the umbrella, and the umbrella's God, and under it's the husband, the wife, the kids. It's always like, no matter what, you got to put God first.
Right. Yeah, which is
so. Yeah,
that's I would never put anything before my children.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't blame you. But yeah, that's what I thought. Like I say, I thought after he told me it, like I thought maybe you might have misunderstood, and because I thought I misunderstood, now I look and I read, like I say, and yeah, for sure, my New King James Version says that exactly. So, but like I say, they're always going to argue, say, oh, well, that's not what it means, but
Yeah, I know.
But because my biggest thing was I was always questioning, and they don't like when you do that, but
thank you, thank you so much, Agro.
They'll try to tell you that non-believers are the ones who twist the word, the Bible, and it seems to me like we can just read it straightforward, and the Christians are the ones who are twisting it. It's, oh, well, it didn't mean it like that. It actually means this.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I actually was on a live a few weeks ago, and this guy was telling me that you can't just read it. And I'm like, well, how am I supposed to know something? He's like, well, you have to read it with the Holy Spirit. I'm like, well, how do I get the Holy Spirit? He's like, well, you have to read it. And I'm like, what do you think I'm doing? And then he was like, well, you actually need to have somebody with the Holy Spirit tell you about it first. So, yeah.
Makes no sense.
But let's say I just want to see like exactly what that was, and like I say, I'm glad I seen that, and so yeah, that's all I was wanting to talk about. But like I say, hey, I like your stuff, so hey, you're pretty funny.
Well, I appreciate it, Thomas. Thank you. I'm glad that you think it's entertaining, and I'm glad that you enjoy watching. I appreciate you watching. Thank you. Go subscribe to my YouTube. Go subscribe to my YouTube. I have all my full live streams on my YouTube.
Okay, do you have your link in your profile?
Yeah, it's in my bio. Just click the little YouTube button. It'll take you straight there, and I have a ton of my full live streams on there.
Okay, well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, so guys, everyone keep spamming those likes and share the live right now. I appreciate all the shares. Thank you for the taps. And if you do want to watch my live streams, go subscribe to my YouTube. It's all my live streams around there. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you. Hello?
Yeah, hello. How you doing, bro?
Hey, what's up?
So, I wanted to talk about what you guys were just talking about how could you love God more than your child? I love my kid more than God. Well, it's kind of contradictive, bro, because, like, first of all, to love your child more than God is to say you don't believe in God because you don't believe that God gave you your children.
Yeah, that's I
right?
don't believe in God.
Right, exactly. So it's kind of like beating a dead horse. It's we're not going to get anywhere. But from my point of view, when my daughter was born, go ahead.
Even if I did believe in God, I still would love my children more than God. I would put my children before God. I wouldn't like if God, because those are my children. And if God was to say, like, if God said, leave your children behind or hate your children or love me more than your children, I would say, no, I'm not going to do that.
See, that doesn't make sense to me because I believe God gave me my children. I believe God created, there's creation. He's the creator. I believe that he made me. He made my daughter. And I fear God. I do. He has the ability to give and take away.
Such a loving relationship you have with this God that you're terrified of.
It's absolutely loving because I don't know what's best for me, but my Father does. It's the same way, like, say
you don't know what's best for your children?
No, I said for me, for myself.
But you don't know what's best for your children either, do you?
No, but God does.
You don't know what's best for your children.
I do because of what God tells me and how he teaches me to be a parent, right?
Does God know what's best for your children more than you do?
Absolutely.
So if God revealed himself to you in a way that you were absolutely certain and said, I know what's best.
Absolutely, I can share it with you. Like,
okay, hold on, sir. Eddie, hold on. Hold on, Eddie. You just said that God knows what's best for your children more than you do. So if God revealed himself to you in a way that you were absolutely certain and said, Eddie, I know what's best for your children. I am God. I want you to drown your children. It's part of my plan. You would do that because God knows what's best for your children.
Yeah, but that goes against his nature. We're under a covenant of grace, not under the covenant of law.
So is Jesus God?
Yes, absolutely.
That means that Jesus is the God of the Old Testament, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He came to fulfill the law.
So
not
Jesus,
to abolish the law. He came to fulfill it. He fulfilled it. Now we're under a new covenant. So all that stuff you're saying doesn't apply to the covenant we're under. God would not do that because Jesus Christ already died for our sins. We're not living in the old covenant.
But you would do it though because God knows what's best for your children.
But you see you don't understand what I'm saying. You
would drown your children because God knows what's best for your children, right?
It's impossible for God to ask me to do that because we're under the covenant
He would command
of grace.
it. He wouldn't ask you. He would command it.
Not under the covenant of grace. You're not understanding.
Yeah.
You're living under the old covenant. In the old covenant, you can ask that question. New covenant does not make sense.
But Jesus is God, so it's actually God. If Jesus is the God of the Old Testament, and God never changes, right? God's morality never changes. He's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Then Jesus and Jesus, aka God, is still fully capable of asking you to sacrifice your children, or commanding you to sacrifice your children. And since God knows what's best for your children more than you wouldn't question God. You would follow through with God's command to sacrifice your children.
But honestly, that's kind of silly. That's kind of silly. No, of course not.
But why not? God knows what's best for your kids.
Because God would never ask me to kill my kids.
Prove that. Prove that God would never command you to sacrifice your children.
The fact that we're under a new covenant of grace, we're no longer under the punishment of the law.
But Jesus is God, and God doesn't change.
There's also scripture that says He's doing a new thing. Like, you can't just cherry pick.
Does God change?
A verse.
Does God change?
And apply it to the whole. You can't just take one little verse and apply it to the whole being of God.
I haven't given you a verse. Does God change?
Does God change? No.
Is Jesus God?
Yes.
So Jesus is God, and God never changes. So I don't give a fuck if it's the Old Testament or the New Testament, because Jesus is God, and God never changes.
Okay, but Jesus would never ask you to sacrifice a kid. That's just a dark place. You're coming from a very dark place.
Prove that. Prove that Jesus, a.k.a. God, would never command that.
Because he defeated death, bro. The whole point that he died on the cross was to defeat sin and death. Therefore, he would never ask you to offer children.
He asked Abraham.
He already died. Like he
commanded Abraham to sacrifice his child. He commanded Abraham to sacrifice his child.
Bro, they went to eternal life. That's what you're not understanding. Christians do not die.
Okay, so
there is no death for a Christian.
Okay, so God would say, I know what's best for your children, and your children are going to go to a second life, so I'm commanding you to sacrifice your children, and you would do it.
Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah. Okay, I mean, if you want me to say yes.
Christianity is a red flag.
If you want me to say yes.
Christianity is a red flag. Christianity is a red flag.
But you're not understanding.
You just said you would kill your children.
just so
you don't know what's best for your children. You don't know. You don't know what's best for your kids.
I said, yeah, just to satisfy your ego, because obviously this isn't even a conversation that's getting anywhere. You're just egotistical, bro. You're asking a question that makes zero sense.
You actually realize,
bro, your question is not biblical. Your question is outside of the biblical context, and you're asking me to answer in biblical context. It's contradictive.
So you realize that you just said you would kill your child, and now you're attacking me personally.
Do you realize that I just said that to satisfy your egotistical way?
Well, thanks for
It's not an actual question, bro. Like, you cannot break the law, bro. Like, God would never ask you to commit murder. It's stupid. That's Satan. That's Lucifer, which you're operating under right now.
In 1 Samuel 15:3, God does command people to murder. So you can't say God would never command murder, because he does.
Oh my God.
In 1 Samuel 15:3, God commands King Saul to go and unalive all the Amalekites and their babies and infants too.
So do you understand the difference between the...
Do you want to address what I just said?
Do you understand the difference between Levitical law and the covenant?
Would you like to take back what you just said, that God would never command murder?
No, he wouldn't.
Okay, well, in 1 Samuel 15:3, God commanded King Saul to go and unalive.
Old Testament.
Yeah,
show it in the New Testament. That was over 2,000 years ago, bro. We're not in Levitical law anymore. Why do you keep going back to the Levitical law?
Hey, calm down. Calm down. Jesus is God, so Jesus actually commanded this. Because if Jesus is God, then he's the God of the Old Testament too. So in 1 Samuel 15:3, Jesus commanded King Saul to go and unalive Amalekite babies. So you can't sit there and say God would never command murder, because he does.
Look, bro, okay, yeah, honestly...
So would you like to take that back?
Honestly, you're just putting me in a corner and forcing me to answer the way that you want me to, and I'm not going to. That's why we keep going. Would you like
to take back what you said, that God would never command murder?
No, I wouldn't, bro, because we're not under the Levitical law. You keep coming out of Samuel.
Okay, Jesus is God, which means Jesus is the God of the Old Testament.
Right,
so
but you're not understanding. He fulfilled the law, bro. You're not understanding. Jesus is God, but Jesus sacrificed himself. And you keep going to the Old Covenant.
Because Jesus is God. You said
you're so ignorant, bro. It's ridiculous. It's like, are you serious?
Are you almost done crying? Are you almost done crying? Okay. Are you going to take back that God would never command murder, or are you going to stick to that lie?
I stick to that, bro. Jesus would never say murder your child, bro. It's ridiculous.
Okay, is Jesus God? Yes. Which means Jesus is the God.
For the 4th or 5th time, yes, bro, of course. Yes. Come on.
So that means that Jesus is the God of the Old Testament. So in 1 Samuel 15:3, Jesus, a.k.a. God, commanded babies to be murdered in 1 Samuel 15:3.
Okay, he created them. He can do what he wants, bro. Like, that's what you're not understanding.
Okay, so would you like to take back...
You think you're God. You think you're God and that you have all the moral rights. Oh, killing children, this is right. Who are you to say what's right and wrong, bro?
Would you like to take back... Would you now like to take back the statement that God doesn't command murder?
Not under the new covenant. Under the old covenant, yes. Under the new covenant, no. I don't know how, I feel like I'm talking to a wall.
But Jesus is God, so Jesus did this.
But Jesus decided to sacrifice himself to create a new covenant, which that old covenant does not apply.
But Jesus is God, so Jesus sacrificed himself to himself in order to satisfy himself.
To fulfill the law. Yes, correct. And you keep going to the law to prove yourself. And it's like, bro, you don't understand that he came to fulfill the law, not abolish it. Like, he already fulfilled the law, so why are you going back to something that the law is talking about?
Would you pick up your child and sit them on your knee and say, if God commanded me to sacrifice you, I would do it because he knows better for you than me?
No, because I'm not mentally ill, bro.
You just said you would kill your babies.
Really?
Yeah, you did. I'm going to post it all on my YouTube. You can watch it. Because you said God knows what's best for your kids more than you. So if God revealed himself to you and said, I know what's best for your children, I'm calling them home to heaven, I'm commanding you to sacrifice them, and you would do it because God knows what's best for your kids more than you do. And you said yes, so that's why Christianity is a red flag.
Okay, bro. Okay. I mean, whatever satisfies your ego, I'm just, because if I honestly try to answer you intellectually, you're not going to understand. So I just say, yeah, bro, yeah, whatever you want me to say, yeah, okay. Like, does that make you happy?
Whether you actually mean it or not, you said you would kill your kids. And I just want to know if you would sit your child on your knee and tell them I would kill you.
I just want to know how you come from such a dark place. How do you even think like that?
Do what?
I say, how does your mindset even think these thoughts? Like, that's very dark.
This is biblical. This is what the Bible says.
Okay, but you're applying it to another human being.
Are you saying the Bible is dark?
No, bro. I'm saying that you applying this to my life and my kids is dark. You're talking about the old covenant.
This is what your God
does. A lot of death, a lot of crazy things happen in the old covenant. Incest happened. Like, come on, bro.
Your God commanded little young virgin girls be captured and raped in Numbers 31, 17 through 18. Your God is evil. Your God is not merciful. Your God is a red flag, and you are a follower of this red flag. And you said
okay, well, let me explain. Can I tell you my testimony? Maybe so that way you could understand where I'm coming from and why
your
I'm so
testimony
passionate?
is garbage. Your testimony is just as equal as anybody else's testimony. It doesn't prove anything. It's literally shit.
Okay, that's dark, bro. I'm concerned for your mental health.
This is your testimony.
Bro, honestly, okay, let's get
this is your testimony.
Bro. What is your diagnosis? What is your diagnosis?
that's
Because
your testimony.
obviously you have mental health issues. Bro,
that's your testimony.
I'm a recovery coach, bro. I used to do drugs too, okay? But I promise you, if you put the drugs down,
you realize that you're absolutely cooked, and that you admitted that you would kill your children, and that your God commands raping little virgin girls, and now you're telling me I'm on drugs.
Bro, I mean, obviously there's something going on mentally with you. Obviously, like you have some type of mental health disorder. I'm being honest. I work in the mental health field. I'm being honest, bro.
I'm just telling you.
I'm being honest. Like, you have depression, anxiety, probably a little bit of PTSD. Like,
I'm just telling you what your book says, sir.
You have a lot of anger and resentment, bro, and I'm concerned for you.
I'm just telling you what.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine, bro. That's fine. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misled. Maybe I'm deceived. But I'm concerned for you, bro.
You're a red flag. You're a red flag. Is what you are.
Okay, well that's great. Maybe the real God.
Your children are in danger.
Okay, well maybe
your children should be taken away from you because you said you'd kill them if you heard a little voice in your head commanding you to do it.
Okay, that's what you created. I don't have children, so like.
But if you had children, you said you would kill them.
Bro, come on,
if you
bro.
had children,
this is so immature, bro. Like, how old are you? How old are you? What's your mental diagnosis?
Sir, this isn't Dr. Phil. This isn't a Q&A.
Okay, exactly, right? Exactly. See, that's the thing. You don't have a sound mind, so you can't talk about the Bible and the things of the Holy Spirit, bro. You look foolish.
Here's a tiny little violin until you're done crying.
I am redeemed. You set me free. Come on, bro.
Listen, never have children, okay? All right, everybody, double tap that screen, guys. Spam the likes. Click the follow button, guys. Share the live. If you want to watch the full live stream, go subscribe to my YouTube. The link's in the bio. I have my full live streams on there. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you guys.
What's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I shot methamphetamine and heroin in my veins for about 10 years, and Jesus Christ set me free. How would you explain that any other way other than God? And I also quit nicotine cold turkey because the Spirit gave me the power to do it. Just kind of curious about that. You know?
It's not for me to disprove that. It's for you to prove that it was Jesus Christ. You're the one making the claim that Jesus Christ healed you of all these things. So it's not my job to disprove it. It's your job to prove it. It's called the burden of proof.
I mean, I have the pictures, the videos of me being strung out. I've been in the penitentiary.
You've got pictures of you on drugs. You've got pictures of you on drugs, and that proves that Jesus healed you somehow.
I mean, somehow I was on drugs. I got off, and I was never able to get off.
Congratulations, sir.
Because of Jesus Christ.
Congratulations, sir. You need to give yourself.
Because of Jesus Christ.
Congratulations. You need to give yourself a pat on the back because you did those things for yourself. How do you know it was Jesus that healed you?
I know it was him because he gave me the power that I didn't have before, and he took the obsession away. So
How do you know he gave you the power?
Because I didn't have the power before. I know it came from him because there was no other way. I had to surrender my life completely over to Jesus Christ and the 12 Steps to Alcoholics Anonymous, and that's where I found freedom, was through God. I tried every other way before that.
Is it possible that you made these is it possible that you made these changes to improve your life yourself?
No, because I didn't have the desire. I was trying to kill myself.
So
I wanted to die.
What made you stop?
And
What made you stop
the
using?
power of God. That's the only way. I broke down in desperation.
Break it down.
In desperation. I will.
Okay, break it down. Listen, hold on, listen. Break it down to me in detail how you know that you stopped using because of Jesus Christ.
I broke down in desperation one night. I was going to kill myself. I was hearing voices telling me to kill myself. And God told me not to kill myself. And I continued to go. And the next day, he worked through people, pastors, and my mother, and ended up going to rehab. And in that rehab, he showed me the character defects and the things in my heart that had kept me cut off from his spirit and from his love. And that's what's began to set me free. And not just me, all of the people around me.
Is it possible that you were having drug-induced hallucinations when you heard voices?
It's possible, but that doesn't explain it happening when I was sober.
It's possible, and that's actually more likely. So why do you why do you take this huge supernatural leap to God when it's actually possible and more likely that you were experiencing hallucinations due to these drugs you were on? That's the most likely.
Christian. I go to church and I have the Holy Spirit, man. I see it work in other people's lives. I live it every day. I speak in other tongues.
Well, listen,
I know it's God.
I'm glad to hear this story. I'm glad to hear that you're no longer using, or that you're no longer on drugs and in a bad way, or like, you know, wanting to unalive yourself. And if you think that this is because of God or Jesus Christ, then that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. I have no problem with that. The only thing is unfortunately you can't prove it.
I mean, my testimony would be the proof. I mean,
no, it's not.
See me the way I was.
So
I'm just here to help you, man. Honestly, I'm here in love and in in a loving spirit because I care about people, and I just wanted to tell you my story. I'm not here to make any kind of argument, man. That's
okay.
it.
Well, let me explain to you how your testimony is absolutely not proof of Jesus Christ. Okay, because somebody could say that Bigfoot helped them stop using drugs. That would be their testimony. My testimony is that Bigfoot helped me stop using drugs. Does that make Bigfoot true? Does that prove the existence of power?
Is there power in that testimony? I would have to see the evidence that Bigfoot actually made that person.
The testimony is the evidence, as you are stating. You're stating that your evidence is your testimony, and I'm explaining to you.
I mean, it is.
No, it's not, because when I point out to you that somebody has a testimony that Bigfoot helped them stop using, you're saying, no, I need to see the evidence. Well, hold on. They have a testimony, which is what your evidence is.
I would have to look into their life. I'd have to see what their life is like, what happened,
just the testimony.
And what it's like now.
So now
it would be their testimony. They would have to tell me their story from start to finish.
So now you're kind of seeing. Now you're starting to kind of see how somebody's testimony of something, is in no way proof of the existence of that thing. Like if a Muslim's if a Muslim's testimony is that Allah helped me stop using, does that prove that Allah is the true God and that your God's not true? No, of course not. Which means testimony is not proof of anything.
Like I said, I'm here to try to help you. Just tell them my story, man. I'll pray for you, man. That's all I can really do.
Listen, yeah, man. I don't need help. I feel like I'm totally fine. And if you want to get down on your knees and bow down and worship a God that allowed slavery, worship a God that commanded babies to be murdered, worship a God that commanded little young virgin girls to be captured and raped, you want to worship that God because it helps you stop using drugs, then fine, do it. I got no problem with that.
That's not, I mean, I don't know, man. My God's awesome. And I hope one day you repent and you see the truth, man.
So if your God... If your God is
I'm psychotic, or you will regret what you're saying.
If your God is
psychotic and crazy, or
you're here in love. You're here in love, but you just vaguely threatened me. Do you realize that?
I'm not threatening you. I'm just saying
you're here
in love.
Crazy, you're here as a Christian.
You will regret.
You're here as a loving Christian. You're here as a loving Christian, and you just vaguely threatened me with eternal torture.
I'm not threatening you. I'm just saying if you don't repent, that will happen to you.
Right, but
yes,
sir. Right. Okay.
A loving Christian is to call out sin.
I want to ask you something.
To let you know what will happen if you don't repent, because the attitude you have will destine you in hell. You will go to hell for what you're doing right now. 110%. I guarantee you, you will go to hell. And as that being said,
It's very loving. It's very loving of you.
Have a great
wait,
day.
I have one more question for you, please. I have one more question. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's so loving, guys. See, Christians are so loving, but you're gonna fucking burn. Okay? Listen, I'm here in love, and I love you. I'm a loving Christian, but you're gonna fucking burn if you don't stop what you're doing. You are going to burn in hell for all eternity. I say it instead of love. Keep spamming those likes, guys. I appreciate y'all.
Yo, what's your problem, bro? That was actually a beautiful testimony.
Yeah, but testimonies aren't proof of anything.
Well, you should apologize to the guy.
I tried to continue the conversation, but he left.
It was a great testimony.
I'm sorry. Testimonies aren't proof of anything. I'm sorry.
So,
And I actually agree. I actually think that's great that he turned his life around.
so what's the biggest problem? Your number one thing that's keeping you from becoming a Christian?
God is if the Christian God is real, he is an evil, raging, violent psychopath.
Well, not really.
Yeah, he is.
Why?
He commands little babies to be killed. He drowned the world. He flooded the world and drowned all the babies, pregnant women. He commands little young virgin girls to be captured and forced into marriage. He allowed slavery. Your God is a raging, bloodthirsty psychopath.
He didn't say those things are good. He never said those things are good. He just.
Well, is your God all good?
Yeah, he's a
Well,
source.
is your God, if your God is all good and your God is the source of good, then everything your God commands is good.
Well, no. With no God.
So your all good God could command bad things.
When God is gone, by default, evil will take over. Hell is without
Sir,
God.
can your all good God command bad things?
Yeah, do you see? He wouldn't. There's no reason to.
But
He never will.
So when God commanded that these little virgin girls be captured, that wasn't a bad thing. That was a good thing.
That's not really what happened.
Well, let's read it. Would you like to read it? Mm-hmm. Numbers 31, 17 through 18. So unalive all the boys and all the women who have had intercourse with a man. Only the young girls who are virgins may live. You may keep them for yourselves. They captured 16,000 of these virgins, and they gave 32 of them to the Lord, because apparently God wanted him some of those young little virgin girls. God likes them young, sir.
Sure. Okay, what was the exact verse?
Numbers 31, 17 through 18.
Let's see. Honey itself. You said 31?
Numbers 31, 17 through 18. And your God is all good, so this is a good command, right? Because your all good God can't command bad things, right?
No, I don't think that's not real. That's not what God commanded. This is actually about, so Numbers 31, 8 through 16 is actually about a false prophet.
No, this is the Lord commanding that the Midianites be unalived.
Oh, because the Midianites are evil.
The little virgin girls were evil?
Keep alive yourself, the young girls who have not slept with me. You remain outside the camp for 7 days. Everyone who killed or touches someone killed, both of you and their captains, shall be purified on the third day and the seventh day. Read up until 20. Read up until 20.
So are you acknowledging now that God did command little virgin girls to be captured?
No, read up until 20. Now,
So
therefore, kill every male among the little ones.
W. Demi, thank you so much, Demi, for the galaxy. I really appreciate you.
Ready? But 19. But you remain outside the camp 7 days, and everyone who killed or touched someone killed, both you and your captives, shall be purified.
They were what? They were what? What were they?
Day.
What were they? What were they? Captives?
And your captives shall be purified on the third day.
Thank you for the crown. Thank you so much. Yeah, so God commanded little virgin girls to be captured.
And to be purified.
Yes, they were taken non-consensually and captured and forced to be brides.
And I'll read you what my the study Bible
Was
says.
this a good thing? Was this a good thing when these young virgin girls were captured?
Yes, because the Midianites were corrupt.
Christianity is a red flag. Christianity is a
idolatry,
red flag.
and fornication. Therefore, everything taken from them had to be purified either by fire or water. Fire speaks of the Holy Spirit, and water of purification foreshadows the water of baptism.
What are you even rambling about now?
This is what this verse really means, because you're taking it out of context.
So you're okay with capturing young virgin girls if God commands it?
Brother, verse 19.
Are you okay, or just answer this, are you okay with capturing young virgin girls if God commands it?
No, God's never saying that this is good.
But your God is all good, so this is good.
No.
Unless you're saying that God commanded something bad here.
You're ignoring the part where I said they shall be purified on the third and seventh day.
Right, but whenever they were captured, like whenever their parents and their brothers were killed and they were sexually inappropriately touched to check which ones were virgins or not, that's all good, right? Unless you're saying that's a bad thing that God commanded.
I mean, but again, they are purified on the third and seventh day.
So it was good whenever these young virgin girls had their entire family slaughtered and they were touched inappropriately to check which ones were virgins or not.
Purified every garment, everything made of leather, and everything made of goat's hair, and everything. Dude, this is a good thing.
So this is a good thing, yeah. So okay, that's fine. You think it's good when little virgin girls are captured and inappropriately touched?
Because what I'm saying to you,
hold on, sir.
Because it's
hold on. You're totally fine with little virgin girls being captured and inappropriately touched because God commands it. Are you okay with God commanding little babies to be unalived?
Someone in the comments recording this.
This whole thing is being recorded. This whole thing is being recorded. It's going to be on my YouTube.
All right, please. I need to rewatch this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you gonna sit there and jerk off to yourself, saying that it's a good thing little virgin girls are being captured?
No, I'm just gonna I hope people know you're lying.
Oh, I'm lying. Does it not say that? Does it not? Are you telling me that I'm lying here?
On the next verse, it says you.
Does it say to capture young virgin girls?
7 days, and everyone who killed or touched someone killed, both you and your captives, shall be purified on the third day and seventh day.
So listen, I'm making the claim that God commanded these young virgin girls be captured. Is that true, or am I a liar?
Yes, you're true. You're true for an extent.
Okay, so would you like to take back what you said about me being a liar?
You're ignoring verse 19.
Would you like to apologize for calling me a liar?
No, because you're ignoring verse 19.
Well, you said I was lying. What was I lying about?
That the Bible is evil, and God's evil.
Okay, again, you've already said this, but yes, it was a good thing when God commanded these little virgin girls to be captured. Fine. You think that's good. Do you think it's good when God commanded little babies to be killed in 1 Samuel 15:3? Is that a good thing too?
Yes, because the Amalekites were so evil that they were putting babies on hot molten lava, and God can hear.
Show me the verse. Show me the verse. Show me the verse that says the Amalekites were sacrificing their babies.
They were the false gods.
Show me the verse that says the Amalekites were worshiping their babies or sacrificing their babies.
If it's not the Amalekites.
And also, here's what you think is happening. Yes, I think it's good that God killed the Amalekite babies because they were killing their babies. So God's like, listen, Amalekites, stop killing your babies. I'll do it for you.
Not just that, they were completely evil in every way.
Give me the verse that these babies were evil.
What'd you say? 1 Samuel.
I can't believe an atheist is here teaching you your Bible.
What'd you say? 1 Samuel what?
15:3. And I want the verse for the claim you made. You claimed that the Amalekites were dipping their babies in lava?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, give me the verse.
Well, I think in my Bible Samuel's called Kingdoms.
Show me the verse that says the Amalekites were dipping their babies in lava.
So you said Samuel 15:3?
Yeah.
15. Now go and strike down Amalekites in German, and of all the things you take nothing from him. You shall utterly destroy him. You shall curse him and everything that is his. You shall not spare anything of his. You shall say both man and woman, infant, nursing child, calf. So Saul told the people, number them in Gilgal for troops. Yeah, these people are evil.
Show me the verse that these babies were evil, and show me the verse that these Amalekites were dipping their babies in lava.
Let's see.
I'm waiting for the verse.
I don't
Come
know.
on, sir. It shouldn't be that hard. This is your book, right? This is your Bible. You're a Christian. This shouldn't be hard to provide the verses for the claims you made.
Wherever he turned was victorious, and he gathered army. So it's
Show me where the Amalekites were dipping their babies in lava, sir. By the way, you do think this is a good thing, right? This was actually good when God commanded these babies to be killed.
it was the Canaanites. They're doing the same thing that the Canaanites are doing, worshiping false gods, and that's in Leviticus. So
The Amalekite babies were worshiping false gods.
no.
So why did God command little babies to be killed? And you show me the verse where these Amalekites were dipping their babies in lava too.
was the Canaanites?
1 Samuel 15:3 is about the Amalekites.
But they were doing this. They were doing the same thing as the Canaanites.
Give me the book, chapter, and verse that proves your claim. We can't hear you. We can't hear you, sir. All right, go find the verse and come back. Don't come back here if you don't find the verse. Do not come back here if you don't find the verse. Spoiler alert, he won't be back because there is no verse. Keep spamming those likes, guys. Share the live. Click the follow button, guys. If you want to watch the full live stream, go subscribe to my YouTube. The link's in the bio, guys. Hello, Anthony.
Hey, brother.
How you doing?
I want to know why you think God coming into me is a bad thing.
Well, do you like it? You like the way it feels?
I like the way that God makes me feel when he comes into me.
When God touches your soul, excuse me. When God touches your soul, and you got the devil coming in you, and when God pounds the devil out of you, that feels good.
That was probably the greatest skit live that I've ever seen back then.
I might do it later tonight.
Oh, it is a great comedic relief.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you got some relief out of it.
Oh.
Thanks, man. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you.
Hey, good morning.
Hi, good afternoon.
Have a nice day.
What? Good afternoon. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
You have a bad connection. You got to fix your connection. Guys, I have like 8 guest requests, or I'm not sure who's next. TikTok doesn't put you guys in order, so I'm just clicking randomly here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
So, what's your objective here? That's what I'm kind of confused on. I mean, I'm a Christian man myself. Wasn't always that way. I'm not really mad at you in any way, shape, or form. I'm just
my objective is to discuss these topics. So, would you like to discuss one? Or one of them, or all of them?
Bring one up.
You choose one.
All right.
Is it possible for you to get out of the wind?
Yeah, just walk back inside.
All right.
So, I heard, I didn't watch for too long, but let me ask you this. Do you believe Jesus is real?
I don't really know, but to me, that's irrelevant.
How would you say that's irrelevant?
Because some human being existing and being put on a stick to die doesn't prove anything supernatural.
We're not, that's not the point that I'm going for. I'm asking you, do you believe that Jesus Christ was a real person?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Don't know. It's irrelevant to me.
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard for that. That's kind of the whole starting point for Christianity, is whether or not Jesus Christ is real and the claims of his gospel are true.
Yeah, claims.
Okay, so you feel like it's a claim?
Yes, the Bible is a book of claims. Yes.
Okay.
The Bible is silly.
Why do you say that?
Because it has
It's the most influential written text in the history of the world.
It's the most intellectual.
Influential.
What does that prove?
It has influenced more culture, more wars, more. There's been more.
That's not a good thing. The Bible is silly because it influences. How about this? The Bible is silly because it influences wars. The Bible influences wars, therefore the Bible is silly.
Does the Bible influence wars, or do people influence wars?
You just said the Bible influences wars.
I'm saying the text, the text, the argument
Yes,
over
the text. The text is the Bible.
Right.
The Bible is silly. The Bible says that a virgin was impregnated by a ghost. Do you believe that, sir? You sound like you're an adult. You're a grown man. Do you, as a grown man, believe that a virgin was impregnated by a ghost?
Well, it's called the Immaculate Conception, brother. I mean,
yeah, that's silly.
Are you going to sit here and okay? So, how much of the universe do you think you know? On just draw a pie chart.
Yeah, like a little speck of it.
A little speck, okay. So, how can you prove that didn't happen? It's not my job to prove to you that it did happen.
Well, yeah, it is, because you're the one claiming. Yes, you're the one claiming that it did.
Okay, I don't believe in gravity. Does that make it true?
Well, if you don't believe in gravity, if you claim it's saying that you don't believe in something is not the same as I'm claiming that it doesn't exist. Like you're claiming that a virgin. Is. No, because you could say I don't know. I'm not telling you that your God does not exist. I'm not convinced your God exists. I'm not telling you that a virgin didn't get pregnant by a ghost. I'm not convinced that a virgin was impregnated by a ghost. You're the one claiming that a virgin was impregnated by a ghost. The burden of proof is on you. You're the one making the positive claim. So it's your job to prove it. It's not my job to disprove it.
I believe that that's kind of like an irrelevant argument. It's neither my job to prove it, nor is it yours to disprove it.
Well, why did you just ask me to prove it?
I didn't.
You said prove that it didn't happen.
No, I asked you about gravity.
What about gravity?
You asked me if I believed it, and you said you didn't believe it, and then you asked.
And then you said prove that it didn't happen.
That's called faith.
Yeah, faith is useless.
Really?
Yes, your faith is equal to everyone else's faith.
All right, I can't really deny that.
Yeah, faith is absolutely useful. Faith is useless faith is a absolutely useless tool to find truth.
Okay. All right,
faith is believing with no evidence. You have no evidence, so you just blindly believe that a virgin was impregnated by a ghost. As a full-grown man,
I don't blindly believe it. I believe it because
you have faith. You don't have evidence that a virgin was impregnated.
I don't need evidence.
Yeah, you have faith. You just blindly believe it with no evidence.
Well, all right. Well, I'll let the next person come on, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too.
All right, good conversation.
Yeah, no problem. Guys, keep spamming those likes. Click the follow button, guys. Share the live.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, how old are you?
My age is 33.
33? Okay.
Yep. So my question is, what's your deepest desire?
I don't even know. That's a weird question. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
And why you think there is a red flag on your topic?
I think Christianity is a red flag because Christianity makes people do terrible bad things and it makes them say terrible bad things. It makes them say that they would do terrible bad things. Like for example, are you a Christian?
You mean, am I religious?
Are you Christian?
Well, I believe in the popular name of Christianity.
You believe in the God of the Bible?
If I ask you that, Do you?
Ma'am, can you just answer the question? Do you believe in the God of the Bible? All right. Guys, in the gas request, let me just bring Demi up here really quick. I'll get to you guys. Just give me a second.
Hey, real quick, when people mention being in a new covenant, the biblical definition of a new covenant is that God's word would no longer be inscribed on scroll, but it would now be inscribed on your heart. In order for the new covenant to actually take place, there were 5 specific messianic prophecies that were tied to the doings and the workings of the Messiah. So in order to be in a new covenant, all 5 of the prophecies have to be fulfilled in order for you to be in a new covenant. The first one is that the heavens and the earth would cease to exist. The temple of Israel would be rebuilt. Neighbors would no longer be jealous of one another, and that there would be peace on earth. Until all of the messianic prophecies that are tied to the Messiah's working is done and fulfilled, you cannot be in a new covenant. And that is why Christians are saying that they're waiting for a second coming. But the funny thing is that the birth of Jesus Christ was the first coming, and the death and resurrection was the second. So if you deny the resurrection of Jesus as the second coming, then essentially what you're waiting for is not the second, but the third coming of Jesus.
You guys, you Christians hear what he's saying? You're still in the old covenant. You're still in the old covenant. Thanks, Demi.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you. Guys, keep tapping the likes, guys. Keep tapping the likes. Click the follow button, guys. W Demi.
Hey, I've literally never, I just came across your page currently at work, so my responses could vary to how that goes, but the first thing I wanted to kind of touch on under the Christianity's red flag is the all-knowing free will problem. And I don't particularly see so can you explain to me how you see that as a contradiction?
Yeah, so the argument would be God's knowledge is perfect, right? God can never be wrong about what he knows, right? Mm-hmm. So whatever God knows is going to happen, it will happen. It must happen. It has to happen because God knows it's going to happen. So God's knowledge is perfect. God can never be wrong about what he knows. So if God knows you're going to turn left, you can't freely choose to turn right. You have to turn left. You will turn left. You must turn left. You can't freely choose to turn right. If you were to freely choose to turn right, you would make God wrong about what he knows. And that's impossible. God's knowledge is perfect. He can never be wrong. So that's why it's a problem.
I mean, I don't really know how that makes sense. Just because you know something is going to happen doesn't mean that.
Well,
you have to look at God you have to look at God in a way that, as a being that does not exist in our plane of existence in that way.
Well, God is omnipresent, so God's everywhere.
Yes, but the way that he exists is not in our. I apologize.
Well, sir, go ahead and refute the argument. Explain to me how you can freely choose to turn right if God knows you're going to turn left, and make God. Explain to me how you can make God's wrong. Explain how you can make God's perfect knowledge wrong about what he knows. If God knows you're going to turn left, can you freely choose to turn right?
How many come in this the free roll?
I'm sorry. What?
How many come into the free rolls?
There'd be 2. Yeah.
All right, dude's at work right now. Listen, when your customer leaves, you can come back up whenever the customer leaves. So, guys, the all-knowing free will problem. The argument is basically this: God is all-knowing and God is perfect. His knowledge is perfect. God can never be wrong about what he knows. So if God knows you're going to turn left, you cannot freely choose to turn right. If God knows you're going to turn left, you will turn left. You must turn left. You have to turn left. You cannot freely choose to turn right. If God knows you're going to turn left, there is no free will. You think you're making the choice. You think that you're freely choosing to turn left, but no, it's basically your actions are based off of God's knowledge. So it's the free will is essentially just an illusion. That's basically what the argument is. Thanks for all the shares, Pilgrim. Thank you.
I'm glad too, because you said a sharp pain?
Hello, Don.
Glad you feel better, baby. Oh, I'm sorry, man. You got me on here. I'm sorry. I was talking to my wife. I apologize.
No, you good. I just brought you up, so you're good.
Okay, man. Whew, I am so sorry about that. I'm sorry, everybody that's in the comments. Man, I was talking to my wife about something. My bad.
W Don's wife.
W Don's wife. Yeah. What was my question? I had a question for you. I was sitting there thinking about it. Golly, man.
Were you just listening to me and the last guy talk, or maybe the guest before that?
The one that was like the second covenant, the covenant.
Oh, that's Demi.
Which actually is not true, and I hate to break it to him that it's not true because.
I could bring him up here if you'd like to ask him about it. I'm sure he'd like to come up and talk to you about it if you want.
I mean, yeah, it's cool if you want to. I mean, if it ain't too much trouble.
Demi, do you want to? Let's see. I'll bring him up here that way because he knows about it more than I do.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
What's going on, fella?
Not much. Happy Sunday to you. What can I do for you?
Happy Sunday. So you said that the second coming of Christ was when he was resurrected, right?
Yeah, so under Levitical law, which is
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you so much, Jerry. Appreciate that.
The Levites were God's chosen people assigned from God through Moses. And there were specifications and specific and explicit details about not only sin sacrifice laws, but what the biblical definition of a new covenant is.
I understand that.
The biblical definition of a new covenant is that God's word would no longer be inscribed on parchment and scroll, but it would be inscribed on man's heart. Now, these messianic prophecies that were tied to not only who a Messiah would be, but there were specific workings and doings that the Messiah had to accomplish in order to prove that he was the Messiah. Mm-hmm. And there were 5 of them explicitly tied to the new covenant. The first one is that the heavens and the earth would cease to exist. The temple would be rebuilt. Mm-hmm. Neighbors would no longer be jealous or envious of one another, and that there would be peace on earth. Mm-hmm. All 5 of the messianic prophecies have to be fulfilled in order for the Messiah to bring about a new covenant.
Mm-hmm. So before the peace on the earth, and Psalm talks about you'll build homes and you'll live in them, and the meek ones themselves will possess the earth, find delight in the abundance of peace and all those things. For those things to actually happen, the new earth had to be created. So, which the scriptures say that I'm created for you new heavens and new earth. Then even in the modeled prayer that Jesus gave, that said that when he asked, in the prayer, says, "Let your will be done on earth as it already is in heaven." So, for that to take place, he would have to come again, right? Because if that was the case, then the purpose of, which I don't think it's going to happen that way, but a lot of people do, the purpose of the rapture would be null and void if he was going to just come one more time, if all those things were to happen. So, unfortunately...
Are you saying, in essence, that there's a thumbnail in time that Jesus put in the Christian faith that basically saying, once I come back for not the second but the third time, that I will fulfill these 5 prophecies and put you in a new covenant?
But there's not going to be a third time. It's only a second time. His death was not him leaving and then coming and then, oh, hey, I'm coming back to fix this, that, and the third right now. Because that never happened. That conversation didn't happen. That's not even scriptural that happened.
So So do you know the baseline premise of sin sacrifice laws for intentional or unintentional sin?
Yeah.
Do you know those details?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're aware that in the event that someone sins intentionally or unintentionally, that someone has to use a male bull, and if they couldn't afford a male bull, they would have to use a female lamb.
Mm-hmm. Or they
couldn't afford a female lamb, they would use turtle doves.
Mm-hmm.
And if they couldn't afford turtle doves, it would be wheat or flour.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you were to use a blood sacrifice offering, the sin sacrifice offering has to be unblemished.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be handled by a Levitical priest.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be unalived very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
The sin sacrifice offering cannot be anointed. The blood of a bull has to be spackled upon an altar 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of that blood has to be poured at the base of the altar.
Mm-hmm.
And then for purification process, the sin sacrifice offering has to be burned.
But once Jesus died, those animal sacrifices were no longer necessary.
Right, but when you fast forward into the New Testament and you look at the details of the crucifixion of Jesus, Jesus Christ was badly beaten with a cat of 9 tails. He was not unblemished.
But the
there was no Levitical priest.
It was already said
present.
beforehand that that had to happen.
Hang on a second. I'm getting to it.
Okay.
So there was no Levitical priest present during the crucifixion. There was no blood of a bull spackled upon the cross or poured at the base of the cross.
Mm-hmm.
And he was anointed before he was unalived. And then last but not least, his remains were buried and not burned. So in accordance to God's laws, which is described as eternal and everlasting, if you believe that the blood of Jesus is what saves you, then you're saying that God, the capital G, his word is not eternal. It's not everlasting. And that God does make mistakes. But if you believe that the Father, God, Yahweh, his word is eternal and everlasting and perfect and does not make mistakes, then you cannot be saved by the blood of Jesus.
So you're comparing Jesus, who is a symbolic sacrificial lamb, to an actual animal sacrifice. That is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Because first of all, Jesus' blood, it said he had to shed his blood. Yes, well, he was stabbed in the side. It also said that his bones wouldn't be broken either, which did not happen. So Jesus is symbolically a sacrificial lamb, not a literal sacrificial lamb. So for you to think that his blood had to be splattered upon an altar and all this, that, and the third, you're thinking from a literal standpoint when they use.
So then you must be symbolically in a new covenant because you cannot literally be in a new covenant.
I'll let you finish, fella. Let me finish. So if you were to think that his blood had to be splattered 7 times upon an altar, that all these other things that they use for animal sacrifices had to take place in order for it to be sacrificial, that's crazy. Because
it's not. It doesn't fall under animal sacrifice. It has to do with sin sacrifice. That these laws are governed by sin sacrifice laws. Okay. I also have 140 verses that support the claim that no man can pay for the sins of another.
I get the sin sacrifice law, but you're saying that Jesus had to die the same way an animal would have to die. That's exactly what you're saying, and that did not happen. You're trying to compare a human being where there are laws within the city that he lived in that put him up for that crucified him. You're comparing him to an animal sacrifice all because the law said that, hey, this is how you sacrifice for sins law.
I'll tell you what.
Jesus' sacrifice was a battle.
I will cash app you $200.
Hold on, let me finish. Because the scriptures even say that animal sacrifice was no longer needed for. It could
hang on. I'm not talking about animal sacrifices.
Yes, you are. You just said.
Linda, honey, listen.
Animal sacrifices.
I will cash app you $200 if you can go back and read Leviticus chapters 4, 5, and 6, and come back to me and describe how I am talking about animal sacrifice and not sin sacrifice laws.
It's the same thing, my guy. They use animals. That when the flood was over, Noah used an animal sacrifice to thank God for saving his family.
I guess we've got $200 on the table.
the priest, like Aaron, Enoch's brother, would have to do an animal sacrifice for their sin.
I am not talking about animal sacrifice.
When the Israelites or the Hebrews came out of Egypt, and they would sin consistently, they would have to give an animal sacrifice, my guy.
Oh my gosh. I am not talking about animal sacrifice. I am talking about
sacrifice. Man, what is you saying? You just explained to me the whole entire sin sacrifice, which is an animal.
This guy is not listening.
So Demi, go ahead. Demi, go ahead and just explain it again really quickly, like what you were saying, that it's not, it doesn't have to do with animal sacrifice.
So in Leviticus chapters 4, 5, and 6, God meets with Moses and gives him clear and concise instructions that if you sin intentionally or unintentionally, there are specific guidelines to sin sacrifice laws. Half of these expectations and standards did not even require blood. It was based off of what you could afford. So if you couldn't afford the blood of an animal, you could literally use flour or even wheat. So what we're talking about is sin sacrifice laws, not animal sacrifice laws. Animal sacrifice was completely different. This was reserved exclusively for unintentional or intentional sin, and it was supposed to be governed by the Levites, the Levitical priesthood, which God described both his laws and the Levitical priesthood as eternal and everlasting. So for Jesus to go and join the Melchizedek priesthood and then reinstate and reenact sin sacrifice laws before he was crucified, the death, the crucifixion, and the burial of Jesus Christ is a direct violation of all of God's sin sacrifice laws, not animal sacrifice. Two completely different things. And I've got $200 that I'm willing to cash app anybody if they can go back and look at the plumb line of the Old Testament and how the New Testament does not run congruent with it. I will put $200 on it.
So you're saying sin sacrifice was carried out a particular way, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So why did Jesus die?
It was nothing more than political.
So why do the scriptures say that it was based upon forgiveness of our sins?
Because he was a martyr to his beliefs.
So you're saying that because he wasn't sacrificed, a sin sacrifice the way that they said it had to be done.
No, the way that God said it had to be done.
Okay, so when he says
the Father,
that he gave his only begotten Son, that everyone exercising faith in him or practicing faith in him might not be unalived, as it were, but have eternal life. Right?
So are the claims, supposed claims, yes.
Supposed claims. So if you...
What's up, Joyful?
So when scripture says that we had to be reconciled to God because we were alienated away from him due to Adam's sin, which Romans 5:12 says, just as sin entered through the world through one man, the sin spread to all because man sinned. What was the atonement for that sin?
Atonement does not require blood. That's my case in point. Is that in the original text, God makes it very clear through 140 something verses that no man can pay for the sins of another. But yet here comes Jesus saying that his blood is going to pay for the sins of everyone. But yet God is saying otherwise. So what it sounds like to me is Yahweh is the rich dad that's basically funding everything, and Jesus is this spoiled son who comes about and makes all these declarations against daddy and basically is doing whatever he pleases in opposition of his father.
How is that possible when he said he came to do the will of his father? How is that possible when he was baptized, the heavens opened up and a dove ascended and a voice from above said, "This is my son, the beloved, whom I have approved," or whom I have basically approved for? When those men wrote those scriptures, you telling me that they were lying?
Yes, 100%.
And that's where the disconnect is.
So here's the problem that we have with this is that all of the Gnostic Gospels were written 120 years.
I just let you talk for like 10 minutes. If you believe what other men wrote to be true in the beginning, but you don't believe what other men wrote to be true in the end, why are you practicing Christianity?
I don't. I'm an anti-theist.
Oh, then why are we having this conversation?
Because the New Testament does not support the Old in any way, shape, or form.
Because God said he came to fulfill the law.
So if God, listen, are you a father? Do you have kids?
No.
Okay, so I have kids. I have a daughter, right? Okay. I'm the man of my household. If I come home and I set strict boundaries and strict rules for my household, and I say, these are all the things you cannot do, and if you want to do these things, you have to ask me. And then a couple of months goes by, and my daughter goes, well, you know what? I know Dad's rule, but I'm just going to kind of find the technicalities and make declarations for myself to justify why I don't agree with Dad's rules. And just because I say I don't like it, maybe that means in my own head that I don't have to do it. Does that mean that she's good to go because she's justified making different rules in her own head?
So, but that's not, you can't compare because you're saying that Jesus just did of his own free will what he wanted to do.
That's exactly what I'm saying, and that's exactly what happened.
But he said that he did it. So at the end of the day, just like the other guy had said earlier, and this gentleman that's hosting the live said that 90% of everything in Christianity, in Hinduism, Buddhism, whatever, it's all based upon faith, man. So if you say that, oh, which the scripture says faith is for things that assure things that you hope for. That's just like you have faith in certain things that go on in regular life. You know what I'm saying? It might not be religious related, but at some point in time in your life, you have some type of faith in something.
We're not talking about faith. We're talking about how the New Testament does not support the Old Testament. And if God is making it very clear, God is making it very clear that no man can pay for the sins of another, and then Jesus comes about and says, my blood's paying for everybody's sins, then where is there room for atonement in anything if one man could pay the price for everyone?
So who sent Christ here?
I'm convinced that the Virgin Mary was probably the first unaired episode of Jerry Springer. She cheated on her husband and then created a religion over it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm done because this conversation is for people that.
Well, hey, Don, Demi hosts his own lives. So, like, if you'd like to continue, like, having a further in-depth discussion with him, you can follow him and maybe you can, like, join his live stream. You know,
I'm going to be completely honest with you. It's going to get nowhere because. For me, yes, I am a Christian. Yes, I do believe in the Bible. Yes, I believe that the Bible is accurate from Genesis to Revelation. But for people who don't, because they say people want to find so many things wrong. Even if you don't believe in God or you don't believe certain things that the Bible says, the principles that a lot of people live, because I know atheist people who live by the principles of the Bible, and therefore they live a decent and good life. So even if you,
sir, the Bible is full of absolutely atrocious principles.
I'm really done talking with you. So anyhow,
the Bible is full of atrocious principles.
So yeah, he's the host. At this point, it would be kind of pointless to have a conversation with the gentleman because it's not going to get anywhere. He feels what he feels, and at the end of the day, he has faith in what he thinks right now. And so it wouldn't be a productive conversation because when one person doesn't have an open mind to think like that, there's no point in me talking to them. So, hey, y'all have a great one. Thanks for letting me on. I see you all the time, and I'll talk to y'all later.
All right. See you later, Don.
See you later.
All right, Demi. Thank you so much for coming up and having that little debate with Don.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you, Demi.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, I do have some people who've been waiting for a little bit. I apologize, guys. Keep spamming those likes right now. Please keep spamming the likes. Share the live, guys. Let's get some guest requests in here. Hey, I'm sorry you've been waiting for a while. I apologize for that.
Oh, hold on. He let me on the live. Hold on, everyone. All right. Oh, you can hear me, right? You can hear me, right?
Hello?
You hear me? You can hear me?
Yeah. How old are you though?
I'm 15. I know I'm young, but I just want to say this, okay?
Hold on. Just hold on 1 second. Just hold on 1 second there.
Alright.
Guys, please be 18 plus. Please, you gotta have 200 followers and you gotta be 18 plus, please.
What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I want to say like a metaphor. I think that's how I would say it. Like, so let's say there's a poor kid and a rich kid and they're talking to each other. Their words, they won't be able to experience. Like, one will say, the other, like the poor person wouldn't understand how good it is to be rich until he experiences it. And then the rich person won't understand how terrible it is to be poor until they experience it. So I believe that God is an experience, and you won't be able to understand until you experience His blood.
Okay, so Wingman, hey Wingman, which one of these topics would you like to discuss?
Let's see. I mean, I didn't really. I just wanted to try this metaphor, but you just
want to come up here and preach.
No. I just we can throw something at me. Let's try. Let's
whatever you pick one. Which one do you have the biggest issue with?
About earlier when you was talking about God killing children and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So like, let's say, how do we know that God knew that these people would have destroyed the world and corrupted it? Like,
if God knew that was going to happen, why did He create them?
I'm trying to think. So you're saying God created them to witness the power of God, pretty much? Is that what
No. If God, you're saying that the reason God killed the babies is because He knew that they were going to grow up to be evil. I'm guessing that's what you're saying.
Yeah, like the Nephilim. You know the Nephilim.
Yeah. So what you're saying, what you're essentially saying here, is that God created babies knowing that He was going to have to kill them. So God was like, I'm going to create this baby, even though I know I'm going to have to order King Saul to go in and chop their heads off with swords. That's not a good thing. That's a cruel thing.
I see what you're saying, but I still see it differently. That God was protecting His people around that time.
He was protecting His people from babies?
Yes, I would say yes.
So the babies were a danger. The babies were a threat.
I would say yes.
Well, how could an infant be a threat, sir?
Their morals and the way like they will be raised up.
But shouldn't God have given the children their free will to allow to like for them to decide whether they were going to grow up to be against or for God? Isn't it all about having free will?
Another thing could be that God wanted them to be with Him as well. You know what I'm saying?
So he just bred them into existence and then sent an entire army to slaughter them just to bring them back home. This is like a cruel game that your God is playing here.
I understand what you're saying, but like I said, I don't see it that way. But I can understand what you're saying.
Do you think that your God is all good and all loving?
Yes, sir.
So if your God is all good and all loving, then everything that your God does is good.
Yes, sir. God is good.
So you think it was good when God killed babies?
Like I said, depending on how they would have grew up and possibly destroyed God's chosen people or destroyed that or tried to destroy God's word.
You think it was good? You think it was good when God killed innocent little children and babies?
Depending on what God seen and knew, I don't know what God knows. You know what I'm saying? I can't question God.
Do you think abortion is wrong?
Yes, I believe abortion is wrong.
Is it always and forever wrong to kill a baby?
I would, yes, sir. For me personally, as a human being, yes, I have no right.
So it's wrong for God to kill babies?
I would say God knows what.
Is it wrong for God to kill babies?
Depending on what God knows in a future sense, no, because I don't.
So it's not always wrong to kill babies, then, right?
No, for God, nothing is wrong for God, because God is always going.
Is it always?
And making sure life. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Is it always wrong for humans to kill babies?
Yes, sir. I would believe so.
Even when God commands humans to kill babies, is that wrong?
Let's see. If God commanded it. Let's see. Like I said, depending on, and plus the context of that, then people were evil, and people were
so it's not always wrong for humans to kill babies, is it?
Yes, I would say yes, it is.
Okay, it's always wrong for humans to kill babies. So when God commands humans to kill babies,
then
is that
it's no
wrong?
longer a human doing it. There's no longer. I would say it's no longer a human doing, like a human choosing.
King Saul and all his soldiers weren't humans?
No, what I'm saying is they was following God's will.
Right. So it's not always wrong for humans to kill babies, is it?
Yes, it is. You shouldn't take another.
Let's try this again. It's always wrong for humans to kill babies. Yes. When God commands humans to kill babies, it's not wrong. So it's not always wrong for humans to kill babies.
In a sense of God knows the future and understands, like, for example, do you think the Nephilim, the giants, do you see like how they was destroying God's people?
So it's not always wrong for humans to kill babies, is it, sir?
And from where I'm sitting, yes, it is wrong for humans to kill.
So the humans that killed babies, the Amalekite babies in 1 Samuel 15:3, in 1 Samuel 15:3, God commanded King Saul and his soldiers to kill the Amalekite babies. Was that an evil thing that those humans did, or was that a good and righteous thing that they did when God commanded them to do it?
I would say it was pure. It was taking out evil from the world in a way.
Right, so it's not always wrong when humans kill babies, because this was a good thing when these humans did this, when God commanded them.
I would say that humans didn't do it. It was
King Saul and his soldiers were humans.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, like, did he go on his own will and do it?
No, God commanded them to do this.
That's what I'm saying. It's not a human action. It's not a human action.
The humans acted. This was a human action. The humans did this act.
And how do we know? How do we know
the humans committed this act because God commanded them to commit this act. So is it always wrong for humans to commit the act of killing babies? No, it's not always wrong, because when God commands the humans to do it, it's good and righteous.
But what I'm saying is, I understand what you're saying. I can see where you're coming from. But
so why are you against abortion when it's not always wrong to kill babies?
Because I don't think that. I think, like, once you make a choice to have a baby, you shouldn't get rid of it because you're not ready for it.
Are all of God's commands good and righteous?
You talking about like the 10 Commandments?
Everything that God commands in the Bible, every single thing that God commands in the Bible, are all of His commands good and righteous?
Yes, I would believe so.
Right. So, since everything that God commands is good and righteous, you would always follow God's commands that are good and righteous, right?
Yes, because I would love to follow the will of God. So that's what Jesus Christ taught me to do.
So, in 1 Samuel 15:3, God commanded King Saul to go into the neighboring Amalekites and kill their babies. And that's a good and righteous command. Now, if God were to reveal himself to you in a way that you were absolutely certain that it was God, and gave you a good and righteous command to go to your neighbors and unalive their babies, you would follow that command.
If they are willing to destroy me and how do we know that these babies was not going to grow up and destroy what God has created, or what God has created?
Sir, yes or no? Yes or no? Would you follow God's good and righteous command that he gave you to go to your neighbor's house and kill their babies?
That's a hard question because I don't personally.
Sir, it's a good and righteous command. How is that hard?
I don't think God would command me to ever do any such thing.
He's clearly shown that he's capable of making these commands. In 1 Samuel 15:3, God commands someone to go into the neighboring Amalekites and kill their babies. And you said everything God commands is good and righteous. So if God were to reveal himself,
he's helping. Like, how do we don't know that God is helping us so they don't destroy what God has given us?
Right.
That's
So God's thinking is above your thinking, right? God's knowledge is above your knowledge, right?
He sees the future, so he would understand what needs to happen in order for life to prosper.
Right. So if God revealed himself to you in a way that you were absolutely certain it was him and said, I'm commanding you, this is my will, I know the future, I'm commanding you to go to your neighbor's house, they are my enemies, and unalive their babies, you would follow that command.
I wouldn't believe. I don't. It's like I said. It's a hard predicament because I believe Jesus taught me to.
This is actually a very easy question. This question is very easy. You just simply say, "No, God, I'm not going to kill babies. I'm not going to kill my neighbor's babies." It's very easy to say.
I would. Yeah, I probably would say no, but I don't think God would command me to do that because God has commanded me to love and treat people how I would want to be treated. That's what God has commanded me to do.
But sir,
God
you can't sit there and say that your God would never command this because your God has already commanded this in the Bible.
But what I'm saying is, He wouldn't command it to me.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
I mean, from what
does God reveal Himself to people?
I think God through experiencing God in this life, I think He do.
Yeah. So if God revealed Himself to you in a way that you experienced Him and you were absolutely certain that it was Him, and said, "It's my will, my thinking is above yours. Your neighbors are my enemies, just like the Amalekites were the King Saul's neighbors' enemies. I'm commanding you to go over to your neighbor's house and kill their babies. My ways are higher than yours, and all of my commands are good and righteous." You've already said this. Everything that God commands is good and righteous. So you would absolutely follow God's command because it is a good and righteous command.
But that would contradict. That would contradict because what Jesus has taught us, that the Father has taught Jesus, that would contradict.
Right, but Jesus is God, right?
No,
Jesus is not God.
No, I don't believe Jesus is God.
So who do you worship? Jesus?
I worship the Father, but
is Jesus your Lord and Savior?
Yes, sir.
So Jesus is God.
No.
Is Jesus equal to God?
He's like this. Is how I said. I see Jesus as my brother, and the Father.
You just said Jesus was your Lord and Savior.
Yes.
Jesus is God. Jesus is equal to God.
Jesus never compared himself being equal with God. Never, not one time.
So you don't worship Jesus, you worship Jesus' dad.
Yes, but yes.
So Jesus is not God. You don't worship Jesus.
By believing in Jesus, you're not believing in Jesus, but you're believing in the one who sent him.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of Christians in the comments right now saying I disagree with that. There's billions of Christians that disagree with that. Actually,
a lot of people. Yeah, man, I go through.
Are you a Muslim?
No, sir.
You're a Christian.
I'm a follower of Christ.
You're a follower of Christ. So Christ is, you worship Christ. You worship Jesus.
I would say I honor him. And honoring him is honoring the Father, because that's the will of God. Because God has placed Jesus over our head, and over Jesus' head is the Father, the only true God that Jesus said.
Okay, so just to wrap this up really quick, can you just give us a definitive answer, yes or no? Would you disobey a good and righteous command from God?
I wouldn't harm babies. From what I have learned,
that's good.
I could not. And
I'm glad to hear you say that. Because like 9 times out of 10, the Christian will say yes, and you're the 1 time out of 10 that has said no, I wouldn't do it. And I actually, I'm glad to hear you say that.
From what I'm learning, man, I have to treat people how I want to be treated, and I can't judge people, and I can't save people. I'm not a savior.
I've got videos on my profile of Christians telling me that they would sexually assault their own child if God commanded them to do it.
And that is horrible, brother. That is a horrible.
And those are the ones that I think those type of Christians, the ones that think that every command from God is good and righteous, and they would do anything God commanded. Those are the type of Christians that I think that paints Christianity as a red flag. I don't think you're that type. You're not that type of Christian.
You can't look at everybody. You have to understand. Like, it's hard. I don't know how to explain it. Because people, they do follow their own.
I recognize that they don't represent the entire religion. I understand that, but I think that Christianity can be a red flag because, if anything, at the very minimum, sir, you do worship a God that commands little virgin girls to be captured. You do worship a God that allowed slavery. You do worship a God that commanded little babies to be killed. So, at the very minimum, you do worship a very disgusting, bloodthirsty, violent psychopath.
In your opinion, you can see it that way, but in my opinion, I don't see the future. My brain is.
In your opinion, all of those things are good. In your opinion, when God commanded little virgin girls to be captured, that's a good thing. When God flooded the earth and drowned all the babies and all the pregnant women, that's a good thing. When God allowed slavery, that's a good thing. When God, all of those things are good to you.
I would think that got us here today where we at, and it got Jesus. It got Jesus to where he was and who he is, to teach love and peace and not hatred.
Well, Jesus does teach hatred. In Luke 14:26, Jesus says that in order to be worthy of following him, you must hate your parents, you must hate your wife and husband, you must hate your own children, you must hate yourself in order to be worthy of being his follower.
And that's meaning you must. In my opinion, I do believe that it's talking about the sin or people fall on their own will. Like if
no, it doesn't say to hate the sin. It says you must hate the person.
The same way, but it also says
you're adding that. You're adding that to the Bible, and to add to the Bible, to add or take away from the Bible is a sin.
I would have to read the context of it. So I'm sorry, I don't have
It's Luke 14:26. I'll start at 25. Here, the beginning of the chapter says, "Leaving all, you must leave all to follow Christ." Mm-hmm. Now great multitudes went with him, and he turned and he said to them, verse 26, "If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple."
Can you read a little bit more, if you don't mind?
He cannot be my disciple. For which of you, intending to build a tower, does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it? Lest after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish, all those see it begin to mock him, saying, "This man began to build." It's talking about building a tower. Don't start the tower. Don't start building it if you don't know you can finish it. Okay. So this is like the toll it's going to take for you to be worthy of following God, or to be worthy of following Jesus. He says you must hate your own family. So that is preaching hatred in a way.
I would say it's leaving this world behind.
It doesn't say to leave anything behind. It says to hate your kids. Hate your brothers and sisters. Hate your parents. Hate your wife or husband.
But in that way, it's not.
And in Matthew, the book of Matthew, Jesus says, "Don't come to think I'm bringing peace. I've come to bring a sword. I will turn a husband against a man against his father. I will turn a man against his sister. I will turn a daughter against her mother. I will turn your entire household against you." And that's preaching division and hate.
If you can look at it that way, but I personally don't see it that way.
That's what it says. How else am I supposed to look at it? That's what it says.
Yeah. So when it says honor thy mother and father as well, that contradicts itself? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's the Old Testament. And yes, there is a contradiction in your Bible. Yes. Jesus himself says to love one another. Jesus says, love one another, love your neighbor, right? Isn't that like the second greatest commandment is to love your neighbor as yourself?
Loving
then
God,
he turns around.
loving your neighbor is better than burnt offerings.
Yeah, Jesus says, turn the other cheek, love one another. And then he turns around and says, hate your kids, hate your parents, hate your wife and husband, hate yourself in order to be able to follow him.
I don't think in a way that he's meaning actually hate.
So when he says to hate your kids, what does that mean?
Let's see here. I don't have an answer for it, to be honest with you. I don't have an answer because I gotta look into it.
All right.
But I feel you. I'm gonna let somebody else come up. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Appreciate you coming up.
No
And
problem.
I enjoyed talking with you. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna look into it, and I might come. I'm gonna come back one day.
Yeah, come back, man.
I got you. Have a good day.
All right. Yeah, you too. And I'm really glad that he said that he would not harm a baby, that he would not harm a child. It's really refreshing to hear that because, guys, you can go and look at all my videos on my profile. I've got dozens and dozens of videos on my profile of Christians saying that yes, they would harm children, they would harm babies, they would sexually assault their own children if God commanded it. Everything that when God commanded little babies to be killed, when God flooded the world and drowned babies and pregnant women, all of that was a good thing because God is all good. And when God commanded little virgin girls to be captured, that was all a good thing. Like those are all awful, terrible, disgusting things. Like the God of the Bible, the God character of the Bible is a evil, vicious, bloodthirsty, raging psychopath. And I know you Christians see him as the hero of the book, but I see him as the villain. I see God as the villain of the book, right? If the Christian God is real and he is true, I would want absolutely nothing to do with this God. Even if you were to prove the existence of this God to me, I would acknowledge his existence. I would say, fine, God's real, your God is real, but your God's a psychopath. And I have more morality than your God. I am far more superior morally to the Christian God, and I'm far more superior morally than the Bible. So that's just what I mean when I say Christianity is a red flag. And I know not all Christians represent Christianity. I understand that. A lot of you guys would say they're not true Christians. The Christians that would do all those things, the Christians that say they would do those things, aren't true Christians. But they could just say that about you. They could turn around and say, no, you're not a true Christian because you would disobey God. You would disobey a command from God. So which one of you is right? If I know a lot of you most of you will say they're not true Christians, but they could just turn around and say, no, you're not the true Christian. So which one's right? So just give me a few minutes, guys. I gotta let my dog out. And just give me 60 seconds. I'll be right back, guys. Guys, keep spamming the likes, guys. Share the live. Click the follow button. We're gonna get to our next guest here in a second. Just give me 60 seconds. All right, let's bring another guest up here, guys. If you've enjoyed the content so far, if you've enjoyed the live stream, if you want to watch the full live stream, please go subscribe to my YouTube. The link is in the bio. I have a ton of my full live streams on there if you want to, if you're looking for something new to listen to in the background while you're working or cleaning or driving. Please subscribe to my YouTube. Link's in the bio. And I got a ton of my full live streams on there. How can you believe in Satan but not believe in God? I don't believe in Satan either. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
I just wanted to ask you one question.
Okay.
Don't Yeah, don't kick me. Why are you doing this?
I might. What the objective of this live is to discuss these topics right here.
Yeah, but why? What do you get from it?
To have discussion.
Okay, but
so would you like to choose a topic to discuss here, and one of them, or maybe all of them?
Yeah, the Bible is silly. Probably, yeah. Because
yeah, I think the Bible is silly because I don't believe in anything supernatural. So the Bible says that a virgin was impregnated by a ghost. I think that's silly. And the Bible says that donkeys can talk. I think that that's silly. The Bible says that, some guy rose from the dead like a zombie. That is silly to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a Christian. I just, when people say that they believe in stuff, I just say, okay, you do what you do. But I have learned a lot from, or I know a lot from Christianity. I've read the Bible a lot, and I go to lessons and stuff. So
Okay, so would you like to discuss any of these topics, or?
Yeah. You said that the Bible contradicts itself.
Yeah, a lot of times.
Yeah, but when God said He made us in His image, we were built with the natural or the ability.
Do you believe that? Do you believe that?
No, I don't believe in God. No.
Yeah, I know. So I was gonna see if you wanted to address one of these topics, but
yeah,
if you don't believe in God, this is kind of a pointless discussion because we both believe that it's all made up.
Yeah, but when you're attacking Christians,
I'm not attacking Christians.
Or you're attacking their faith.
No, I'm not. I'm just discussing. I'm sitting here having discussions with people who believe in it. How's that attacking?
You're kind of attacking when you're saying God is not merciful when it says in their faith.
Yeah, I don't think God's merciful. God allowed slavery. God killed babies. God commanded little virgin girls to be captured. None of those things are merciful to me, and that's not attacking anything. I'm just stating my opinion.
This happened in the New Testament or the Old one?
The New Testament supports slavery, and also if Jesus is God, then Jesus did all those things.
Yeah, but as I said, or was going to say, God made, or the Christians believe that God made us in His image, and we were built.
That's completely irrelevant to what
No.
How am I attacking Christianity? How am I attacking Christians by simply stating my opinions that I believe that the God character of the Bible is evil?
Yeah, sorry, you're not attacking with them. The thing or the questions you have on, or the statements you have on the live, but some of the things I heard you say, that was just
Well, I think that God commanding to capture little virgin girls is evil. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that God allowing slavery is evil. Do you agree?
I agree. Or
I think that when God flooded the earth and drowned babies and pregnant women, that was evil. Do you agree?
I agree that is.
I think when God commanded in 1 Samuel 15:3 to unalive little babies, that was evil. Do you agree? You agree with me on everything. So hold on, sir. Why are you attacking Christianity? Why are you attacking Christians? Why are you attacking them?
Yeah. So this. I'm not.
You agree with everything that I have said, and you're going to accuse me of attacking Christians and attacking Christianity. You agree with everything that I have said. Why are you attacking Christians? Why are you attacking them? Guess just needed attention. That's okay. I need attention too. We all need some attention sometimes. Keep spamming the likes, guys. Keep spamming the likes.
Sorry, your page has gone black.
The whole screen went black?
Yeah, I can still hear you though. I suppose I don't need to see it.
Is the screen black, guys?
Yeah, well, it's black for me. I don't know if it's for you guys.
Here, I'll drop you down. You can come back up, maybe. Or
okay,
like
yeah,
I'll drop you down and just like exit out of the app, like fully exit out and come back, and I'll let you come back up. So let's I'll just give a few seconds here for user to come back up here. Thank you guys all so much for being here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for the gifts, guys. Please keep spamming those likes. Click the follow button if you've enjoyed this live stream. If you want to watch the full live stream, please subscribe to my YouTube. The link's in the bio. I have a ton of my full live streams on there. If you guys are looking for something new to listen to in the background while you're cleaning or cooking or driving or working, I got a ton of my full live streams on there. Please go subscribe. I get some pretty freaking wild guests, so it's pretty crazy sometimes.
I can see you now.
You can see? Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. So yeah, what do you want to talk about?
Okay. If you say that Christianity is a red flag, would you say that Islam is a red flag?
Yeah, I do. But I tend not to talk about that too much because every time I do talk about that or host lives about that, I get suspended. So, I mean, I wrap them all, and they're all the Abrahamic faiths. They're all the same to me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's like you just
I get suspended. I get banned all the time. Like, I don't even like usually mentioning. I very rarely even mention that religion or that faith because for some reason every time I try to talk about it or like have that part of the discussion, I always get suspended or banned. So.
Yeah, it's because I think it's just people's, certain religions you're not allowed to question at all, as opposed to ones that are a little bit more free thinking.
Are you a believer of that faith?
No, I'm Christian.
Oh,
I just wanted to.
You're probably wondering. You're probably wondering why. You're probably wondering why am I only talking about Christianity, right?
Yeah. I just thought maybe put like Abrahamic religion, maybe.
Well, the reason that I mainly speak about Christianity is because it's the religion that I know about the most, and I'm an American, so there's like 300. I don't know what the number is. It's millions and millions of of Christians in my country. I have to live with them and deal with them on a day-to-day basis, and but I don't think that. I'm not trying to pick on just Christianity. I just think that it's the religion that I know the most about. I don't really know much about Islam, but I do think that it's also a toxic religion. And I shouldn't have even said that because I'm probably going to get suspended now for saying that. So let's not talk about that.
Would you say that in what idea? Like, I'm just seeing the things on the thing. You say the Bible's what made you believe in the stuff that you put on the screen, like God supports slavery and God is not merciful?
Because of the God's behavior in the Scripture. I don't think God is a merciful God. I think He's an evil, bloodthirsty, violent God, based on His behavior in Scripture. And the reason I say God supports slavery is because in Leviticus 25, God gives very specific rules and instructions to the Israelites on how to practice slavery, as opposed to saying, "Hey, Israelites, my chosen people, no slavery. Do not do it. Don't own people." He doesn't do that. In fact, he does the opposite. He condones it. He says, "Here, you can do this. You're allowed to do this." He supports slavery.
Yeah, that's First Testament.
God told the Israelites, God told His chosen people, "Don't eat shellfish. I command you to not eat shellfish." He could have just as easily said, "I command you to not own slaves." So God supports slavery. He told the Israelites that they can get foreigners from outside of the nation of Israel, and those are the foreigners that you can own for life. You can own them forever. You can pass them on to your children after you die. You can make slaves of them, and they'll be your possession forever.
Yeah, but weren't Israelites slaves in the beginning? They were the slaves of the family Ramses II.
Yeah, God's chosen people.
The slaves.
Yeah, God's chosen people were slaves for 400 years, right? And then He sent Moses to free them. And then when Moses freed God's chosen people, Moses goes up on top of a mountain, and God gives him all kinds of rules and regulations and laws, including how to practice slavery.
But is that one of the 10 Commandments?
No, but there's not just 10 Commandments. There's 613 laws and regulations and commandments. Thou shalt not, thou shalt not wear mixed fabrics. Thou shalt not eat shellfish. Like all kinds of stuff. But none of those commandments and none of the laws that God gives, none of them say don't own people as property.
Yeah. What would you like? Would that be more directed towards like Jews? Because like Jews believe in the Torah, which is
it doesn't
the First Testament, and a little bit more as well.
To me,
you'd say that's more like because you're talking about the First Testament God, which is very different to the concept for Christians of the new God, as in the one that Jesus referenced, and the concept of God changed between the First Testament and the New Testament.
Do you believe that Jesus is God?
Yes.
If Jesus is God,
and is Jesus caring? Is he merciful? Yeah, I think he is.
Well, no, he's not, because if Jesus is God, that means that he's the God of the entire Bible. So I could just simply say that since Jesus is God, I can simply say that Jesus allowed slavery. Jesus supported slavery in Leviticus because Jesus is God, also known as the God of the entire Bible. So, and also Jesus never spoke out against slavery. The New Testament still supports slavery. In Ephesians 6:5, the New Testament says, slaves, obey your earthly masters the same way you would obey Christ. So Jesus never specifically speaks out against slavery. Nowhere in the Bible does it ever say slavery is wrong, don't do it. Slavery is condoned throughout the entire Bible.
Yeah, okay. What about onto the other thing, is you said God is not merciful.
Yeah, I don't think God's merciful because...
What do you mean by that?
God flooded the earth and drowned all the babies, drowned pregnant women. God ordered Saul's army to go and unalive all the Amalekite babies. God commanded little virgin girls to be captured as spoils of war and forced into marriage. God allowed slavery. All of those things are not merciful to me. To me, the God character of the Bible is a bloodthirsty, violent, raging psychopath.
But that's your... Okay, so what you need to understand is that the people back then, like the ones that, the stuff that's referenced in the Bible, I mean, I can give you a specific thing.
Thank you.
I don't know, like, for example, the splitting of the Red Sea and all those kind of Egyptians that died.
You kind of cut out a little bit when you first started speaking. You kind of cut out a little bit. What exactly are you talking about now?
The Red Sea splitting of the Red Sea. For example, the Egyptians that were flooded when the sea went back into itself. All those Egyptians, even though they'd obviously died, and a lot of them, probably have families back home, and you could argue it was bad of God to do that. If you look at the overall greater impact it had, it would have been a positive, which means that God needs to make sacrifices in the Bible.
This argument that you're running can get very...
They were pretty far gone, a lot of the people in the First Testament.
So this argument that you're running here could be very sketchy, because you're saying that when God closed the sea in on the Egyptians, that in the long run, that was for the greater good whenever he did this, right? So I could also flip that around on you and say, when God allowed the Holocaust to occur and didn't stop it, the Holocaust would have been a good thing, because in the long run, it could have been for the greater good, right?
Yeah, but he didn't directly influence that. It wasn't something that he was in at all.
Do you hold the position that because since God didn't stop the Holocaust, or he didn't, that God allowed the Holocaust to occur, that was probably good because it resulted in the greater good in the end?
No, because that was different. It wasn't influenced by God. The Red Sea was influenced by God. Because
but God could have chose not to do that.
You can't split the Red Sea.
But God could have chose not to do that in the same way he could have chose not to allow the Holocaust to occur.
Could you repeat that? Sorry.
God could have chose to not flood the Egyptians, close the Red Sea in on them, and he also could have chosen to not allow the Holocaust to occur.
Yeah, but I mean, those are two very different polar arguments. I mean, comparing the Holocaust to the Red Sea is quite a drag. in the sense that
it's God allowing something to happen.
Different.
But you're arguing that that bad thing could have resulted in been good because it resulted in a greater good in the end.
Yeah, but I don't know why God didn't stop the Holocaust, right?
Because he's not merciful. That's why.
You can't say that because it wasn't God's doing.
I can say that.
It wasn't God's doing.
Does anything happen against God's will?
Loads of things happen.
So God has a plan, and you're saying that things can go against God's plan?
Yeah, but the overall plan hopefully will succeed.
If things can go against what God's plan is, then you're saying God's plan can fail. So you're saying God can fail.
Well, I mean,
which would contradict an all good, perfect. God's plan failing would contradict him being perfect.
No, but if for example, obviously, like demons could become like too powerful or something.
More powerful than God.
They never beat God. But I'm not saying that there's a lot of catastrophe in the world because of demons.
Do you believe that God has a plan and a will for all of us?
I think he, because there's a kind of like destiny and fate argument. I would say that everything that we do is already predetermined. So
okay. If everything's predetermined, then God predetermined the Holocaust. God, in fact, made the Holocaust happen.
No, okay. So you didn't listen to the rest of what I said. I said everything's predetermined except the evil things that we do. So if we're misguided,
that's a huge cherry pick. Everything good. That's a huge cherry pick. That's not being honest. You're not being genuine here. What you're saying is that you're saying, hold on, sir. You're saying everything good that happens in the world was predetermined by God, but the evil, bad stuff, God didn't want that. That's a huge cherry pick. You can't predetermine only good things and not predetermine bad things. If everything is predetermined, if you believe that God's plan and will are all predetermined, then that includes both good and bad.
Yeah, but he doesn't predetermine badness because it's not part of his plan. It clearly states that in the Bible.
So are you saying that God doesn't know about the evil that's going to occur?
Well, he's aware, but also demons are quite powerful, and they can surprise him. They can influence people, and he obviously knows about this influence. But when they have a lot of power down here, they can influence people a lot more. And if people reject God, what can God do?
Does God know what a person is going to do before they're even born? Before he even hold on, let me rephrase that. Does God know what a person is going to do before he even creates them?
I would say that. Let me think on this one.
Does God know what a person will do before he even creates them?
Yes, and he has no control over them existing.
That's where you're wrong.
Free will.
That's where you're wrong. God knows what a person is going to do before he even creates them, which means he creates them. So God knew that Hitler was going to do the Holocaust before he even created him, and God created him to do that thing. And then he punishes him.
He cannot alternate, and also. I think he can know the rough idea of where someone's going to be, but also it's a random process. So he can think, he's got great qualities. I want him in this world. But also, if he chooses the path of darkness, it's something that I don't think he is aware of because it's so
he's not all knowing. So God's not all knowing then.
No, when it comes to
is God all knowing or not? Is God all knowing or not?
Yes.
He is all knowing. So then you can't say God's not aware of something.
Yeah, but you can also say that.
You cannot say God is not aware of something if he's all knowing. And is God's
Yeah, but he's aware of something,
knowledge,
but he's not able to influence that certain thing.
so he's not all powerful.
He can only guide. No, but that's a choice. That's a choice that we set as humans, because it would collapse if he didn't go against that choice. If that makes sense about free will, because if we didn't have free will, we'd be robots. And then
Sir, you cannot have free will if your God is all knowing. You cannot have free will if your God's all knowing. That's what it says right here. All knowing free will problem. So let me give you an example. Okay. Did God know that Hitler was going to commit the Holocaust before he created him?
Could you repeat that?
Did God know that Hitler was going to commit the Holocaust before he created him?
Of course you've got the sound effect, bro. That's actually quite iconic. That's quite iconic.
Did God know that Hitler was going to commit the Holocaust before he even created him?
Interesting point. I would say yes and no.
No, that's a contradiction. You can't know something and not know it at the same time.
Okay, so I think
your God is. Here's the answer.
It would cause a lot of problems.
Your God is all
but
knowing.
But people would become better. Do you understand? So there's a lot of failures of people. Do you understand what I mean? He knows everything that happens.
Your God is all knowing. Hold on, listen. Your God is all knowing. So your God did know what Hitler was going to do before he was created. And another question, is your God's knowledge perfect? Can God ever be wrong about what he knows?
Yeah, okay, so let me just reiterate. He knew that there's going to be some bad people, some bad, bad.
He knows exactly what they're going to do. He knows exactly what they're going to do.
He's aware that there's going to be people that could, go against that kind of evil. But you see, if people are failures,
please,
they don't act against the
user, please stay on track here, okay? Your God is all-knowing, and your God's knowledge is perfect. So your God can never be wrong about what he knows, right? It's a yes or no. Can your God ever be wrong about what he knows?
Absolutely not, no.
Okay. God can never be wrong about what he knows. God knows that Hitler is going to commit the Holocaust before he's even created. So Hitler must do the Holocaust. Hitler cannot choose to not do the Holocaust, because that would make God wrong about what he knows. God knows Hitler is going to commit the Holocaust, so Hitler must commit the Holocaust. He cannot freely choose to not commit it, because then that would make God's knowledge wrong, and God's knowledge can never be wrong. He's perfect. So God created Hitler to commit the Holocaust. Your God, in fact, allowed it. It was all part of your God's plan. That's why God is not merciful, because he wanted the Holocaust to happen. He created Hitler to do that exact thing. And Hitler has to do this. He must do this. He will do this, because this is what God knows will happen, and God's knowledge can never be wrong. Does this make sense to you?
No, but yeah, okay, so yeah, God's aware of what people will do. Correct. Okay.
And but they can't freely choose the opposite of that. You cannot freely choose the opposite of God's knowledge.
No, okay, so when I say that things are predetermined, good things are predetermined in the sense that God has a plan that's a positive plan for everyone. But if you stray away from that,
how is God merciful when he...
But he cannot influence the world, because it would get rid of his own rules that he set up for the world.
How is God merciful? How is God merciful when he's responsible for the Holocaust?
He's not. People are.
Sir, we just went over this. God knew that Hitler was going to commit this before he even created him. God could have chose not to create Hitler. God knew Hitler was going to commit the Holocaust, and he still chose to create him. He still chose to create Hitler, knowing he was going to do this Holocaust. And Hitler has no choice but to do this Holocaust because God's knowledge can't be wrong. So why is God merciful when he's responsible for the Holocaust?
He is responsible. He's not responsible. That's incorrect.
Who's that in the background? Put them on. Put the person in the background on too. I'll cook both of you.
Cook both of us.
Yeah, I'll cook both of you because you're both not being logical here. You're not being honest. You're not being genuine here. You've already told me that God's knowledge is always correct. God's knowledge can't ever be wrong. God knew that Hitler was going to commit the Holocaust, and he still created him. So if God can't be wrong about what he knows...
That's a straw man argument. You can't just equate something that bad happens, therefore God is bad, because that's like so rare. Like, how many people do that? Barely anyone. Okay,
explain to me.
Yeah, and as I said, evil, there's some certain things that I feel like, for example, Hitler, like before the Holocaust, he was into like a lot of like black magic and witchcraft.
Sir, hold on.
He spoke to these spiritualists. No,
listen, hold on, stop. Explain to me how Hitler could freely choose to not commit the Holocaust, even though God knows he will.